Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate, and today we are streaming. This is quite an interesting day, if I do say so myself. I mentioned before earlier on in my video this morning that we would have a decent tornado threat over in Iowa and Minnesota. And right now, Minnesota's kind of going nuts. I'm not gonna lie. There's a bunch of thunderstorms that have kind of just popped up across the board. I'm also seeing some stuff that could be popping up in Iowa on the satellite, more or less kind of south of Des Moines. So we might have some more initiation stuff like that. But for right now, we kind of have a couple storms. Jesus, I'm having a day so far. We might see a couple storms in Minnesota first before we actually get into the majority of Iowa. What's up, everyone? Nice to see you all here in the stream. NC Mayor, what's up? Let's see. There's a bunch of people here. Mason Monster, what's up? Keezy Ryan, what's up? Solar Quantus, what's up? I don't know how to pronounce most of these names. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Anyways, so here's the satellite view right now. And just to prove my point as to what I was saying earlier, you can see a lot of these little kind of blue dots across the board here in Minnesota. It may be hard to believe, but this actually is the outline of Minnesota. But you can see a lot of these little dots across the board here, and you can see this one huge dot of green right here. And this actually is the infrared satellite looking down at the storms. And so these different colors and contours, they actually tell you how high those clouds are up in the atmosphere by telling you the temperature of those tops. So this actually isn't that bad, especially since these cloud tops actually aren't supposed to be too tall, but they're still pretty interesting. Let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center real quickly. two different slight risks, pretty large across the board actually. You have the one slight risk, that's the tornado risk for Minnesota, Wisconsin into central, I almost said Illinois, Iowa, into Des Moines, and then you have the second slight risk, which is in places like Wichita all the way over into eastern Missouri. And then you have one giant marginal risk across this cold front here that is just connecting the dots in between the two slight risks. Jeez. Hail, two 15% areas, so this is different than what we were looking at this morning. Originally, there was a 5% up in the tornado risk area, but now there is a 15% chance for hail into those areas. So what that basically means is that if you these chances, whether it's a 5% or 15%, you can have that chance of getting 1 inch hail or larger, which 1 inch hail is above the severe threshold, which can warrant a warning. So that's something to keep in mind with all of that. Wind, the wind seems to be more localized into the tornado risk, a 15% chance up into basically most of the areas where the tornado risk is. So the 15% chance is 58 mile per hour wind gusts or larger, which also 58 mile per hour winds is above severe thresholds, so that's something to keep in mind. And the tornado risk, which is extremely it's localized into extreme southeast parts of Minnesota, into north central and central parts of Iowa. There's also the 2% that extends into Wisconsin as well, but the main 5% risk seems to be localized more into the Minnesota and Iowa regions. Real quickly, take a look back at the satellite here, and here's the storms that I was talking about earlier as to how Minnesota was going mental. But take a look at this line right here, this line of storms, or not really storms, more or less just convection, whether it's just clouds or whether it's actual just rainstorms, thunderstorms passing by. But you can see a little bit of purple down here, and there could be some storms down in south central parts of Iowa that could be trying to fire up. So that's something to keep in mind with all of that. Let's see. I do want to take a look at the mesoscale analysis before we get into anything on radar, just to see what the current conditions are. So this is the surface-based CAPE here, according to the EMC RAP, so satellite analysis as well as the RAP model. And you can see these red lines here with numbers, and I'll actually zoom it in for you all real quickly. So you can see right here, these numbers indicate how much CAPE there is, or convective available potential energy. And so that can determine whether storms initiate or sustain based off of the amount of CAPE that you have. Now for today, the CAPE wasn't supposed to be overly impressive. As a matter of fact, it was supposed to be around the 1,500 joules per kilogram surface-based CAPE. But still, it's enough to be able to get thunderstorms to have its energy and to possibly continue to sustain or maybe even initiate, because there are storms up into Minnesota that actually is riding along the Cape line, but it doesn't seem to be overly impressive in that general vicinity. And then let's take a look at the wind shear real quickly. So we'll take a look at the bulk shear surface to 3 kilometer. I like the surface to 3 kilometer. And in this general vicinity, you can kind of see that the bulk shear is around 35 knots, maybe 40 knots in some spots. And that actually isn't that bad, especially for the type of event that we have today. The shear is actually carrying this event. So that's the reason why you have the 15% wind there. This is more of a wind-driven event compared to some other days, but it's still one of those things to where you have to pay attention regardless, especially with just storms across the board that could form and possibly produce either wind or tornadoes, or just like strong gusty winds, I should say. And then storm relative helicity, surface to 1 kilometer. Ooh, it's actually pretty good across the parts of Minnesota into Iowa. So we're gonna want to watch northern Iowa really closely to see if we can actually get some initiation down there. I'm trying to see if we have something here. Theta E, not bad. So it is advecting a bit further to the north. I want to take a look one more. Temperature, winds, and dew points. So dews are not overly impressive. They weren't supposed to be impressive, but you can see in these little brown lines here that the dew points are more into the 50s, temperatures are more into the 60s, and the pressure seems to be a bit more, or the low pressure seems to be a bit more localized into northwestern Iowa. So as it continues to move off to the north and east, that's when we'll start to see our event start to uptrend a bit. But the event wasn't supposed to start until about right now, give or take, and so we are just before the storms actually begin to initiate and push on through. Let's see. Do you think the watch will get extended into Washington County, Minnesota? Well, let me figure out where Washington County, Minnesota is so I can be able to tell you. Google Maps. Saying the Willard Airport in Champaign, Illinois has a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. National Weather Service Lincoln says southeast Illinois, small hail and gusty wind and marginal risk tomorrow. Yeah, it's pretty localized, honestly, along that stationary boundary. Washington County, Minnesota. Okay, so that's near Minneapolis. So personally, I think Minneapolis will be a bit far to north of the event, but still, you guys could still see some of those conditions. But I think Minneapolis is a bit far north. St. Paul is in the 2%, but I don't think that it'll be able to get that far north, in my honest opinion. You could, but I really don't think so. Let's see. Can anyone else hear? My volume is way up and I can barely hear him. Can people hear me? Let me move up a bit. There we go. Any snow on the ground from Minnesota? I would assume that there is a bit of snow in the northern parts of Minnesota, but not too much. All right, so let's take a look at the radar here. Let's actually take a look at the Minneapolis radar first. And you can kind of see there's a bunch of these cells. Most of them are already starting to have this kind of curly-Q nature to them, which means that they could possibly try to be tornadic. But right now it's actually kind of just churning its way through. Oh, I just pulled my phone out and it's not charging anymore. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll fix that later. But yeah, there's a lot of these storms that are already starting to try and curl. If we take a look at the velocities, yeah, there actually is some pretty good velocities on the one north of Warsaw and Morrisontown. So that is something to keep in mind, this storm right here. I mean, look at this. On reflectivity, you've got a classic hook characteristic here. A little bit of an outflow boundary developing. The inflow, a bit impeded because you have another storm that's trying to do the exact same thing right next to it. But regardless, it still has pretty good rotation. And actually, Spectrum Width says that the winds are indeed kind of consolidating into that general vicinity. So that's something to keep in mind, that you know, people need to kind of monitor this storm. If you live along State Route 99, along to Longsdale and to State Route 19, and anywhere along I-35, you need to go ahead and kind of just monitor the weather there, especially since you have a couple storms that could end up being tornadic. So you really need to kind of just, you know, monitor this for real. I want to take a look at some of these other storms. There's only 2 areas of decent rotation. Any supercells? Kinda. So you have a couple of these storms that have a bit higher tops than others. This is a low top supercell right here. Most of these actually are kind of supercells, but it's just low topped ones. But yeah, you definitely have the opportunity to get supercells across the board. This organizes earlier on in the latter stages of this past hour. I was actually looking at this storm, and it actually looked pretty interesting on radar. Like you can see right here, had a nice little kink with a little bit of rotation, not too strong, but still had a little bit of a kink there. You had another kink up north, and so that was just a really interesting rotation to look at. But then you have these other storms out in front, and this was the thing that I was kind of really wanting to look out for, was these sporadic storms that would create these little curly cues in and along the line. If you guys are new to the stream or new to my channel and you do like what you see so far, we haven't really gotten into a whole lot of stuff just quite yet, but if you are new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe, and if you enjoy the content, leave a like and click that notification bell so that if I stream on any other days, such as possibly Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because I opened my time slot for work so that I could, please hit the notification bell and share it out with friends and family. That way people can be informed that there is severe weather going on in and around the US. But yeah, this storm still is really interesting. Just for any clarification as to where the storm is, it's along I-35 south of Minneapolis, near Faribault. So that's something to keep in mind with that. Geez, that's some really strong rotation. I'm not sure if that's an anomaly or not, and I don't think it is an anomaly, chat. This actually is some decent rotation spanning up into the atmosphere. So this is a storm right here that people need to monitor really closely, in my honest opinion. Let's see, someone pinged me on Discord. I was like, what? Who did this? Also got a marginal risk for localized flooding tomorrow. Yeah, there is an interesting risk for flooding into the parts of the Ohio River Valley. Not like Tennessee and stuff like that, but northern Ohio River Valley. It's where it's like Ohio into Illinois and Indiana. There is an interesting flooding risk for you all over there. Kevion Ruffin, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, no, this storm is really interesting. I want to take a 3D of it. That's not a 3D. My computer kind of just crapped out for a second there. Alright, so here's a 3D of the storm. I'll do the lit volume right here, and you can see the classic curling characteristic here of this of the storm, but it isn't really like all overly powerful. At least I can't really tell if it is. But it does have an inflow notch, I will say that much. It may not be a strong inflow notch, but you do see the little inflow notch characteristic right here into the storm. Same with this one, but it's not really an inflow notch, to be completely honest with you. So it's just more or less kind of lagging behind with its updraft. But regardless, this storm is still something that we need to monitor because it does have some strong rotation and that it could possibly produce tornadic conditions along the line. It is definitely sucking in inflow, though, I will say. This thing is definitely churning. Definitely churning. Not as tall as this storm, though. This storm is pretty tall, I will say that much. I don't exactly know what it's doing because it's kind of just a cluster at this point. But regardless, it's still pretty crazy. Cannon Colton on Twitter just posted pictures of what looks to be a funnel cloud just south of Warsaw. Warsaw is over here, so it's this storm right here, and indeed it actually does have a little bit of a tail or a curling characteristic within this storm. And this is what we're gonna expect here today, guys. These types of storms that are just going to kind of just curl around and have general rotation. The thing is will these storms be strong enough to warrant a tornado warning, or at least produce a tornado? That is something that we will have to continue to watch over time. So it's really one of those things to where we can't exactly say for sure until the event actually happens. But let's see. I do want to take a look at Minnesota weather real quickly. There we go. That actually isn't that bad of a storm right here. We have a wall cloud right here with a bit of a tail. Yeah, he's in not a bad position for that. Tornado warning could get issued soon. Yep, I agree. That storm is pretty interesting. 2 dangerous supercells north of Morrisontown, Minnesota. Yep, this is what we were looking at. That's what we were monitoring earlier. Reports of a rotating wall cloud north of Waldorf. Rotation wrapped up briefly 3 minutes ago, but it looks like it's be cycling southwest of Waseca, Minnesota. Oh yeah, look at that wall cloud right there. Look at that, chat. Look at that. Easy to tell that that's a wall cloud. Pretty easy. Really easy. But oh yeah, there's some rotation on this storm too. So both of these storms now are trying to kick up a notch. Keyword trying though. Will the tornado hit a town? Well, the tornado is not exactly on the ground just yet, but there is a storm that has tornadic rotation, so that is something to really monitor. And I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service in Minnesota pulls the trigger and puts out a tornado warning. Let's see. I do want to put up IEM bot real quickly. IEM bot I feel like will be a good to have here and all that. Don Sue Cunningham, see ya. Thanks for coming out to the stream. Let's see. So Minneapolis. I'm trying to get the IM bot up here. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that rotation. There's actually 2 areas of rotation. This rotation, this wind right here is actually not being registered. So that's kind of a little concerning. What was that noise, chat? I don't know. What counties will hit it? So let me take a look real quickly. I can luckily pull that up for you all. So Rice, Dakota, and Scott counties are in the path. And Goodhue is also towards the east of it. Not sure exactly if it will hit it exactly, but it's still something to keep in mind that it is heading into that general vicinity. Landon Markham, what's up? When anything happened near Owatonna, Minnesota? So Owatonna is in the Riskin itself. So I would say that you guys could get some scattered storms, and that some may be severe or even tornadic, but still something to keep in mind with all that. Any of you know what Minneapolis is here? Minneapolis's IEM bot is? Because I seem for the life of me to not be able to find it. What cities? Iowa, Duluth, Des Moines. I'm trying to find it. Morristown. Pika. I don't know why I can't find it. I really don't know why. Jonathan Moore, what's up? I'm getting robbed, bruh. Imagine. Okay, so this storm right here near Waterville actually is kind of exploding a little bit. And some of these other storms are really starting to explode too. Look at this, chat. You've got multiple storms that are starting to elongate itself. And some of these are actually producing more hooks. So there's multiple storms. Twin Cities? Bro, I literally clicked on that. I don't understand. Bro, I suck at this. Oh well. Tornado warning! A tornado warning has been issued for Dakota, Rice, and Scott counties in Minnesota. That'll be in effect until 4:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm assuming it's for one of these storms up here, but there is now a tornado warning. So there it is. That's the storm that we were looking at before. So if you live near Elko, New Market, Lakeville, and Farmington, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space. Get underground or get into the lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet with no windows, so you can put as many walls between yourself and the tornadic rotation as possible. Let's get some timings out here real quickly. Elko, New Market, you guys will be impacted in about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, but I'll say 5 to 10 minutes. Anyone who lives along State Route 19, you guys need to go ahead and get in your shelter immediately. 30th Street, you guys need to get into your safe space. It'll impact you in about 5 minutes. It'll cross the interstate in about 10 to 15 minutes, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And then Lakeview, you guys will be impacted in about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you guys live into those areas, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space now. Let's take a look at the velocities here. You can definitely see the brighter greens and blues heading towards the radar and the darker greens moving away. Actually, let me get the storm relative velocities to be able to show you all a little bit better. And there it is. So greens moving towards, reds moving away. Right in the middle is where the rotation is, just to the south of Lonsdale, moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So as I said, if you live in those counties, Dakota, Rice, and Scott counties, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space now. Get underground or get into the lowest, innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet. There are also other storms that are similar to this one that is producing rotation, but still, regardless, there's a tornado warning right now, and that the storm or the system, the event is officially underway here today. Let us see. I want to get my audio alerts up here. We are getting reports of wind gusts across the line in Iowa that actually is up to 58 miles per hour. So that's almost severe. That's at or around severe thunderstorm. Severe thunderstorm warning criteria. I couldn't find the word for the longest time. But still, regardless, something to keep in mind with that. And then there's also another storm that's around near Rice I want to mention that actually has decent rotation. So I'll take a look at the storm relative velocities. You can see greens moving towards, reds moving away, right in the middle, just around the town of Rice, the town north of the town of Faribault. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a storm around there that actually could produce, but that's still something to keep in mind with all of that. Let's take a look at the tornado warning just a little bit more in depth. The spectrum width, this looks at turbulence in the air. So typically, if the winds are a bit more consolidated, the drop off in those winds tends to form in turbulence. So if there's a tornado around or in that general vicinity, there tends to be more turbulence due to the effect of the rising and sinking motion of the actual tornadic rotation. So let's take a look at the spectrum width, and there actually indeed is a little bit of a spectrum width signature here, around 26 knots in some spots. So usually when it starts to get into the yellows, that's when we need to kind of really monitor the system, especially since that will be able to tell us that there most likely could be a tornado on the ground in that point. And that'll tell us prior to even the correlation coefficient if it actually shows up on radar. But for right now, the system does indeed have really good rotation. I actually want to take a delta velocity real quickly. Up, new scan just came in, so we might as well just take it off of those values. So we'll place a marker there, we'll place a marker here, and we have a delta velocity of 49.5 knots, which is around 60 miles per hour. So there indeed is a bit of rotation here. So 60 mile per hour winds in the 1,655 feet up in the sky. That actually isn't all too bad for these types of storms. And that is some massive radar interference right there. Yeah, that storm is these velocities are having a whale of a time. 115 mile per hour winds. Yeah. You know what else is really something to look at? This storm right here near Pemberton. This storm right here has some really interesting rotation and up this high up in the sky, 4,600 feet up in the sky. So this right here could also be something to watch out for. As a matter of fact, I think this was one of the storms that was reported that there was already like a wall cloud or a funnel cloud around there. I can't remember exactly if this one was. But this is the one near Waldorf, and I did mention that a couple of, I heard that mentioned a couple of times on Twitter. So there is a bit of rotation here near Pemberton. That'll head into the general vicinity of Janesville and Waseca. So if you guys live over there, you guys need to monitor the National Weather Service. If they issue a tornado warning, get into your safe space. That would be the best thing to do in that particular situation. If you guys are new to the stream or new to the channel and you do like the content that you see, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You do not want to miss out on any of my live streams, especially if you do not want to be impacted by severe storms and you have severe weather forecasted for you in the future. But regardless, we're going to continue to watch this as it continues to unfold in front of us. I do real quickly want to look back at Twitter, which, by the way, if there's any pictures that shows us some severe weather and stuff like that, go ahead and send that to me at N8_Snyder so that we'd be able to see that for ourselves as well. Let us see. Cell associated with the warning in Dakota County. Oh, that's a really nice wall cloud right here. I'm not sure if that's a shelf cloud, that's actually shelving out a bit, but that is a really nice lowering regardless. A really nice lowering. And then some of these cells actually are looking pretty interesting, but there isn't a whole lot of pictures here, so I can't really say a whole lot. But still looking pretty nice. Andrew. Yeah, I can't really see a whole lot of pictures here. That's a wall cloud north of Faribault. So that's actually the storm that was that's this storm right here, which is actually pretty interesting as well. Yeah, most of these storms here already has pretty good rotation. Yeah, this one near Pemberton is really something that we need to watch out for. Especially with this rotation this high up in the sky. It's around 96 miles per hour as a delta velocity. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the trigger here on this storm as well. I really wouldn't. So I mean, it's just a matter of time in my honest opinion. Especially since most of these storms could just start to churn out and produce more and more, whether it's gusty winds or tornadic conditions. But still, it's one of those things where people need to monitor that. You have an aunt in Rosemont. Could I help you out? Yes, sir. Give me a second. You're currently in the tornado warning. Well, then get into your safe space. But that's still something to keep in mind. Let's get an update here for the tornado warning while I try to look for where Rosemont, Minnesota is. I just had to talk to someone real quickly. But anyways, here's an update on the rotation right here, just to the south of Elko New Market, near Lonsdale in Minnesota. So this tornado warning is in effect until 4:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. The rotation looks something like this. You have the greens moving towards the radar. You have the reds moving away, right in the middle, just to the north and east of Lonsdale, moving to the north and east at about 45 miles per hour. So something to keep in mind with all of that. If you live, let's try and put the storm track here. If you live near New Market, that'll be impacting you within the next 5 minutes. So you guys really need to monitor that. New tornado warning, LeSueur, Rice, and Waseca counties. That'll be in effect until 5 p.m. And it's for the rotation that we were talking about, chat. This storm near Pemberton. There it is. This is what we've been watching for ever since we saw it a couple minutes ago. So, oh, and look at this, chat. This is some really good rotation here. 90 on top of 11.2. That's a 101 mile per hour delta velocity, 4,000 feet up in the sky. So this rotation right here is looking really interesting. So as I said, new tornado warning, LeSueur, Rice, and Waseca counties. That'll be in effect until 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's get some timings out here for everyone, because we need to be able to figure out exactly where this storm is going. So Janesville, that'll be impacting you within the next 5 minutes. You guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space. As I mentioned before, if you live in any of these tornado warnings, get underground or get into the lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet. But if you live near Janesville or along United States Route 14 or anywhere along State Route 83, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space now. It'll be impacting you the moment that you receive this transmission. Elysian, you guys will be impacted in about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even 10 to 15 minutes, but I'd say 5 to 10 minutes. Waterville, you guys will be impacted within the next 15 minutes. So if you live over near Waterville, you guys need to go ahead and just start planning out procedures, whether you get helmets, pillows, and then get into your safe space. And then that'll head eventually into the Kilkenny areas in about 20 to 25 minutes. So as I mentioned, if you live in those areas, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space now. And as I mentioned before, there are multiple storms across the board that has rotation. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were more areas. Actually, if I can get some of the other people that I've talked to on Discord real quickly to look at this. Am I seeing this correctly well, let me just ask. Am I seeing this correctly in general? Regardless, as I mentioned before, if you live near Janesville, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space now. Spectrum width, it's into the yellows. I told you all before that if it gets into the yellows, that's where people need to go ahead and get into your safe space, because that could be breaching down to the ground. You could have a tornadic, a drop, a funnel cloud that could most likely drop into those areas. So that's something to keep in mind here. Yep, okay, so people are actually confirming to me that there might actually be 2 rotations within this storm. So that's something to keep in mind with this as well. And now we've got a TVS. We have a TVS here. NROT is in the 2 range. That could actually be reds as well. But this is not good here, chat. So as I mentioned, if you know anyone who lives in Janesville, tell them to get into their safe space now. New update. The tornado warning for Dakota, Rice, and Scott counties has been canceled. So the warning up for New that's around New Market, that has been canceled. So that is the good news. But if you know anyone who lives in these areas, tell them to get underground or show them this live stream so that they may be able to know what's happening around them, because this is something that people need to monitor completely, especially if this thing does turn or end up to be tornadic. We don't have a correlation coefficient drop just yet, but that's not saying that we won't in the future, so we need to continue to monitor that as it continues to move up to the north and east. If you guys are new to the stream, please like it, subscribe, stuff like that. That'd be great. Helps me out. Share it with friends and family. Oh, look at that. So this right here, this is the ZDR differential reflectivity. And this actually shows us updraft characteristics. So there actually is a tornadic updraft that's right near Janesville. So that's something to keep in mind with this too. But there's one updraft right there. There's a second updraft down to the south of that. So something to keep in mind with this, that there are signs that this could eventually end up being a tornadic supercell as it moves along the line. 95 on top of 1, so that's a 96 mile per hour delta velocity. And then 98 on top of 10. That would be an 88 mile per hour delta velocity, so that's something to keep in mind with that. There actually is this thing that we typically look for on radar called a donut hole. So there's the donut hole just to the south of Janesville, and what this basically is telling me is that there is rain that's wrapping around the tornadic signature, and that could either indicate that the storm is intensifying a bit, or this could indicate that it is weakening. But right now, there is a bit of a donut hole signature on this storm. So if you live near Janesville, as I mentioned, you guys need to get into your safe space now. There is no question about it that you need to get there. New scan just came in, and the donut hole is closed, and what in the world? I don't know what this is, but it still is looking pretty interesting. Can I look at this in 3D? Yes, I actually can. That's actually a good idea. Let's take a look at a 3D of this storm. It's too small of a 3D. Let me go back to the bottom here. Do you think anything could happen around Stearns, Wright, and Hennepin County, Minnesota? So that's, if I remember correctly, a bit north. You could get a chance, but I don't believe that there actually is a large chance for you to get the get a lot of storms there, or at least strong storms. But I do want to say something real quickly as I take a look at the 3D here. There is an inflow notch here. I typically look for a little bit of an arch that kind of just, or a little cave, if you will, within the storms. That'll be able to tell me if there actually is an inflow notch. And so because there is a bit of an arch right here, that is indicative that there is an inflow notch and that this thing is intaking moisture to be able to sustain. So that's something to keep in mind with the storm, that it is tornadic and it is a classic supercell. It also is in upwards of 33,000 feet. You can notice that by taking a look at the 30 KFT right here and noticing how it lines up with this. It's actually above 30 KFT, so or kilofeet. So that's something to keep in mind with all that. But still, regardless, it is something to keep in mind with that. New scan just came in, and is this a hail spike? This might be a little bit of a hail spike here. Ooh, so the rotation's here. And 54 on top of 40. So that is 94 mile per hour delta velocity right there. I don't know if this is a correlation coefficient drop. It doesn't look like it is it's a debris signature, but at the same time, I very well could be wrong. So that's something to keep in mind with all that. But still, something to keep in mind with this storm as it continues to move up, that this storm does still has some strong rotation. I want to see if I can get an update in the storm motion to try and figure out if this actually has altered in any sort of way. So not a whole lot, but there's still something to keep in mind here, that this is a really good, really interesting rotation. The Weather Channel reported that there was a tornado over Janesville. So this, I really don't know if there was one completely. The spectrum width said that it very well could have, and that it may be still on the ground right now, according to the spectrum width. But correlation coefficient is not really too helpful right now. So I can't exactly say that this thing is on the ground, but the spectrum width does say that this thing very well could be. Let's take a look at Twitter. I'm gonna try and see if there's any pictures with this storm top. See new tweets, thank you. Jeez. Yeah, I don't really see any pictures here. If you guys see any pictures on Twitter, feel free to send them my way so that I'd be able to see. But regardless, as I mentioned before, this storm is indeed tornado warned, and it very well could be tornadic. Could actually be producing a tornado, but I can't exactly say for sure because right now the correlation coefficient's kind of being stupid. But then again, there isn't really a lot, if there was a tornado on the ground, for this thing to hit. It's more or less open field. So that's the good news. It's really rural, except for the fact that Janesville was right next to it. But other than that, still has some decent rotation in these areas. Let's see, 87 on top of 1, so that's 88 mile per hour delta velocity, and that's looking up 3,500 feet up in the sky. So something to keep in mind there. La Croix, nothing. So for those of you who are saying that the rotation is actually weakening, I want to bring up an interesting counterpoint. I'm not disagreeing with you exactly that it's weakening, but I just wanted to bring up this interesting point that the this scan right here, this specific tilt, is getting lower and lower towards the ground. It's not as high up as it once was when it originally got tornado warned. But as it continues to get closer and closer to the ground, the winds tend to not be as strong as it is up in the air, due to the fact that the wind shear closer to the ground tends to have a bit more friction with the ground compared to when it's up in the air, when it has no friction whatsoever, nothing to slow it down so that the wind shear could be able to swipe on through and be as strong as it is. So that's something to keep in mind with all this, that this thing could be weakening ever so slightly, but at the same time, we can't say exactly that it is weakening tremendously. So that's something to keep in mind with that. I do want to take a look real quickly at some of these other storms to see if there's anything rotation, anything to monitor here. There is a little bit of a storm north of Morristown, but I really cannot say for sure. It's right next to Rice. Geesh, Rice is not out of the clear yet, is it? There is a little bit of rotation just to the west of Rice. There's also a little bit of rotation north of Northfield. Oh geez, yeah, that's... Look at these cloud tops here, guys. This is pretty tall here. New tornado warning here. Rice, Dakota, and Scott counties. That'll be in effect until 5 p.m. Look at that. Chat, I don't want to say we called it, because the National Weather Service kind of called it before we did. They've obviously been watching the storm a lot closer than we have. But there is a new tornado warning for Dakota, Rice, and Scott counties. That'll be in effect until 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. If we take a look at the reflectivity, it is looking pretty interesting. You have the classic calm ahead and the outflow that's wrapping around the inflow unimpeded that's actually seeping into the storm. New scan just came in, and yep, there it is. So inflow, outflow wrapping around, inflow unimpeded moving into the storm. So just to the west of Rice, just to the north of Warsaw, just to the south of Lonsdale, that's where the rotation would be. So if you live in those areas in this tornado warning, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space. Get underground or get into the lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet. Let's get some timings out here for you all. If you live along State Route 99 in Minnesota, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space immediately. It's going to be crossing over your area as soon as you get this transmission. Then it'll be heading off into the State Route 19 Lonsdale area in about 10 to 15 minutes, and then heading into the New Market areas in about 20 to 25 minutes. So when you guys look at this and you hear that New Market is about 20 to 25 minutes, the people who live around in those areas, you guys have a little bit of time. You can get some helmets, you can get some pillows, and then go into your safe space. That way you can have extra layers of protection to put between yourself and either the tornado or the tornadic debris. I want to go back to the storm over here in Waterville real quickly. The rotation still is a thing there. I can't really tell if there is a correlation coefficient drop, but the spectrum width still says that there very well could be a tornado on the ground. Very well could be. I'm not saying that it exactly is, but it very well could be on the ground. If we have a lot of rain around it, could very well be rain wrapped, but still something to keep in mind with this. And there also is another storm that's forming off to the south of the original cell in Waterville. It's actually right here, just to the south of Waterville, just to the north and west of Waseca. So something to also keep in mind, that the people around Morristown and Warsaw, you guys also may not be completely out of the risk too, because there might be another supercell that's heading your way. Real quickly, I do want to take a look at the satellite, and look at this, chat. I didn't have to say a whole lot until now. Take a look at this. There's a little bit of these popcorn cells that are now developing along the line, and they may be beginning to initiate as well. So that's something to keep in mind too, that the areas in Iowa are now starting to kind of fire up, and there may be more cells that could look like the ones north into Minnesota. So that is something to very much so keep in mind as we continue to move along into the evening here. Actually, I do want to take a look at those cells and see if I can find those little tops here. That's LaCroix radar. I want to go over to, or LaCrosse. I want to take a look at Des Moines real quickly. And there it is. You can see a couple of these storms that are starting to push out. So Lemoore, there's some storms over there. There's another storm that's near Waterloo that could very well pop off. But one of these things to say for sure is that these storms are indeed quite sporadic, and regardless as to what their nature, they still very well could produce tornadoes. Let's see. I want to see. I can't exactly say for sure that this thing is on the ground, although there is a bit of a lowering in the correlation coefficient. So I will say that much, that is something to monitor there. But, oh, and then there's the new rotation that's developing off to the south. So that is also something to keep in mind as well, that these storms are rotating, and they are 100% recycling and or forming new supercells within each other. So that's something to keep in mind as well. That these storms may not completely be out of the question. If you know anyone who lives in these areas, share this with them. That way they'd be able to know that this stuff is coming. And if you want to see more content like this, to where we discuss severe weather, and we try and warn people, and we try and figure out which areas are tornadic or not. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell and leave a like so that other people may be able to watch it on YouTube. But regardless of that, we have 3 storms actually that are breaching the 30,000 feet Echo Top region. Echo Tops is basically we're looking at how high these thunderstorms are going up into the sky. So in this case, there is some storms that are going up to 38,700 feet, which is well above my expectations as to what I thought we were going to get today. But still, it is something to keep in mind there. We have a new report coming out of Des Moines. The tornado watch has been updated. So Boone, Dallas, Hamilton, Hancock, Humboldt, Kossuth, Palo Alto, Webster, Winnebago, and Wright counties, all those areas have had the tornado watch canceled. So that is the good news for you all. But some of these other storms out currently in the tornado watch, you guys are not out of the clear yet. So that's something to keep in mind with all of that. Let's take a look back at the tornado warning. Actually, geez. So the TVS is officially moved off from Waterville and down to the second storm now. So it is actually fully recycled. Excuse me. But yeah, this storm has definitely recycled quite a bit. I will say that much. I mean, you can take a look at the rotation right here. There's one area rotation right here, another one right here. They're not exactly organized to its best capacity, but regardless, it's still there and still prevalent. I also want to mention real quickly that there is hail in this storm. It's not just the gusty winds and the tornadoes that we're looking at. We do have a 15% chance for hail, and we do have over an inch-sized hail in some of these spots. So that's something to keep in mind with all of that. Spectrum width doesn't say a whole lot in my honest opinion. But there isn't really a whole lot to say, to be completely honest with you. I can't exactly tell if there is debris. I really can't. But regardless, there is a plethora amount of gusty winds that is churning through and pushing on into some of these areas. So, as I mentioned before, if you live in any of these tornado warnings, whether it's LeSueur, Waseca, Rice, Scott, and Dakota counties, whether you live in any one of those counties, you need to go ahead and get into your safe space. Because you do not want to mess with a tornado at your door. You really do not. Someone's calling me. Give me a second, chat. All right, I just had to take a call from someone real quickly, but I do want to take a 3D of this storm. I'm not gonna lie, because this storm is looking pretty interesting, and there is no storms to kind of impede the inflow moving into the supercell. So I do want to take a sounding, or not a sounding, geez. I want to take a 3D scan of this storm and see what exactly is happening in it. I also want to see what's happening in that storm up near Lonsdale as well. There's also another area of rotation here that is recently intensified near Farmington. So we could also see another tornado warning here soon, coming in the next couple of minutes if it continues to intensify. But yeah, I do want to see a 3D of this storm. And yep, look at that. The second storm has indeed given characteristics that there is an inflow notch. There it is right there. You can see the little cave that I typically look for, the little notch. So the inflow would come in unimpeded in this case, and right in there would be your tornadic rotation. you can actually see that on the base velocity, the stronger amounts of wind that'd be seeping in. And so people over there need to continue to monitor the storm and get into your safe space if you aren't already in it. So Morristown, Warsaw, you guys need to go ahead, get into your safe space. And I did not anticipate this, chat, but a little bit off topic, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in California. So the more you see every day. But obviously the severe thunderstorm warning is not as important as the tornado warnings that are currently ongoing. So we're gonna stick with these until they aren't as much of a threat anymore. But jeez, I want to take a 3D of this storm as well. It just looks too good right now. And there is a little bit of rotation here. New tornado warning for Dakota and Rice counties. That'll be in effect until 5:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm assuming, no, it actually isn't. So it's actually an extension of the warning down to the south. So, new tornado warning that includes Morristown, Warsaw, Faribault, all the way over into Dundas and Northfield. So if you guys live in those areas, you guys also need to go ahead and get into your safe space. Get underground or get into the lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet. If we take a look at the velocities here, you can still see it has some decent rotation here. The green's moving towards the radar, the red's moving away, and right in the middle is where the tornado could most likely be if there was one. The other rotation that's off to the north that went close to Waterville and Elysian, that one has weakened a bit, so that is the good news. But there seems to be a couple more rotations that indeed very well could become tornadic later on in the day. I want to take a look real quickly at something here. I couldn't find it. Is it passing over Lakeville? Let me take a look at where Lakeville is on Google Maps, and I'll have that answer for you. Rosemount, by the way, someone asked if that was going to be impacted. Not at the moment, but it very well could be later on. The tornado warning for LeSueur, Rice, and Waseca County got canceled, so I believe that was mainly because it has moved out of the warning area. So the storm, or at least the original area of rotation, is weakened below tornadic capabilities. So no, it's moved out of the area completely, so the warning has been canceled. So yep, the warning has officially been passed off, and that there is the new tornado warning for Morristown, Warsaw, and Faribault, as well as Dundas and Northfield. But Rosemont, you guys aren't going to be impacted until a bit later tonight. And Lakeville, someone asked as to where Lakeville is. Lakeville, Minnesota. So is it passing over Lakeville? No, it does not look like it just yet. So there is a rotation off to the east of you, but that's going to be moving away from you. I think you're the real chance of you getting some tornadic rotation would be down to your south, and that could be potentially moving into your general vicinity relatively soon, but I wouldn't say for sure that it exactly is pushing on into your general vicinity. But look at the California severe. Hold up. I'll look this up on my other storm. What? No. Stop. Stop. What about Burnsville, Minnesota? Yeah. Give me a second. Let me look that up for you real quickly. Are there any tornado pictures yet? So I have not seen any just yet. But if you guys do see any on Twitter, feel free to send that to me. Feel free to send that to me so that I may be able to see it and show you all here on stream. Burnsville, Minnesota, that is a bit further to the north. That's actually north of Lakeville. So right now, you guys aren't in any tornado warnings, which is the good news. But you do have a couple tornado warnings down to the south near Morristown and Lonsdale. So if you know anyone who lives in those areas, tell them to go ahead and get into their safe space because there are some tornadic rotations around you or around those areas. And if they don't believe you, send them to the stream and I will convince them to get into their safe space because that is something that people need to do. A lot of people are telling me to go over to the California storm. I really don't want to do so right now. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this cell, someone in my chat said this cell looks ugly. I 100% agree. Earlier, there was another tornado warning that looked a whole lot better structurally, but this one just looks really ugly. I mean, you can see you can obviously the velocities here, 89.5 on top of -1, which would be a 90 mile per hour delta velocity, but still something to keep in mind with that. We're in Cal, Fresno? Yeah, Fresno. That's the severe thunderstorm warning that they want me to watch. Hail reported in Waterville, Minnesota. Yeah, I heard that there was actually an inch-sized hail reported over there, so that's something to keep in mind. Someone is calling me, and I don't understand why. Give me a second. It's another person that I actually had to take the phone for. Jeez, why is everyone calling me now of all times? There's clearly tornado warnings. Is it coming to Burnsville at some point? So the tornado warnings are going to go to your south. That is the good news. But if you know anyone who lives south of you, then yeah, there could be some rotation that's heading into their general vicinity. Is it coming to Woodbury at any point? Let me take a look for you real quickly so that I may be able to find that out for you. Is it near Northfield? So it's actually heading into the general vicinity of Northfield. Just for a timing real quickly, it'll be in the Northfield area in about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you live in those areas, I mentioned earlier that you should probably go ahead and get into your safe space, whether it be underground or the lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet. With no windows, so you can put as many walls between yourself and the tornadic rotation as possible. Couldn't find the Twitter sorry, storm pic, sure it worked. So it's at N8_Snyder. If you guys at that would be great, so that I may be able to show you all what is actually happening there. So someone asked that for Woodbury, Minnesota, real quickly. So that actually is a bit further north than these actual storms, but they very well could move into those areas, but I highly doubt that it actually will impact you on a larger scale. The tornado warning for Rice and Scott counties has been expired, so it'll be the smaller storm near New Market. I'm assuming it's because the rotation is weakened below tornadic capabilities, but that's something to keep in mind. And that's exactly what happened. But this storm near Warsaw right here is really, really strong, actually. You can see the velocities going upwards of 83 on top of 29. So that's actually the inflow. This inflow is surging in to this storm, and it's creating really nice rotation in those areas. Really nice rotation. I can't say for certain that there is a tornado on the ground at the moment, but it's still something to keep in mind that as this continues to move up, it looks like it has some decent rotation. If you guys are new to the stream or new to my channel in general, please be sure to subscribe and leave a like, as well as hit notifications so that you guys can be up to date with my content, especially severe weather streams, because that is mainly what we are here for. I had to apologize, went to another severe weather stream, but only long enough to realize it wasn't listening to the best. I appreciate that, thank you. I'm gonna watch the South Cell. I think a new Meso might have formed and is trying to consolidate with the old one. Supercell is taking forever to cycle. I agree, actually. That is pretty spot on, mainly because I really think that this outflow that the former cell had is really kind of just churning up the updraft, the main updraft of the storm that is trying to form to the southern side of it. So it's kind of seeping in all of that rain, and that outflow that's trying to surge around this storm that's trying to cycle is really kind of just getting sucked into the former storm. So something to keep in mind with that this storm is kind of getting in a little dogfight with the other cell, but it is still looking ever so slightly that powerful. And look at this, 110 on top of 5. That is really interesting. Your cousin is safe. He lives in Warsaw. That is perfect. Thank you. That is exactly what we want to see. There's a photo in Minnesota weather. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Current view. So wall cloud. Oh, geez. Look at that. That is a really nice wall cloud. Big meso. Oh yeah, this is a really insane wall cloud here, and that is a nice meso. Look at that. That is a really nice mesocyclone here. That is a really nice mesocyclone. And that right there is 100% a wall cloud. Look at how low that is to the ground. Look at how low that is. That is a wall cloud and a half, chat. So this storm is indeed a classic supercell that could indeed possibly produce some tornadic rotation. So people really need to monitor this storm. 100%. I do want to take a look at the storm again on radar. I want to say something real quickly to this person. But yeah, there is some really nice rotation here in this storm. So if you live near Faribault, you need to go ahead and get into your safe space now. There also is a bit of hail with this storm, so that is something to keep in mind with this. But look at this rotation. Look at this, look at the hail. Look at the rotation here. It's looking pretty gnarly, if I do say so myself, but it is a bit unorganized, so that is the good news. How about Lakeville? So Lakeville is a bit further north of this cell, so that is the good news, that it is not exactly being impacted by this direct cell. But the bad news is that you still have the risk for severe storms across the board here, so that is something to keep in mind for all of you who lives up in there, that you could still have the potential for some severe storms later on. Look at my sub count. I won't look at my sub count until the end of the stream. But if you guys want to help my sub count out, that would be great. Look at the echo tops here too. Some of the echo tops are still above 30,000 feet. Should you go into center to shelter for Lakeville? I wouldn't say so. I would say that you should be fine for right now, but still, this thing definitely has some really interesting rotation here near Faribault. I'm at 1.96 kgs. As I said, I appreciate everyone who supported me. I really do. Oh, look at this, chat. So I mentioned before that some of these storms could be initiating along the line in Iowa, and indeed that is exactly what is happening here. And geez, Look at that supercell that we've been watching. It just absolutely blew up over southern Minnesota. So that is something to keep in mind with that. That this storm is indeed these storms. It's not just localized in Minnesota. It actually includes some areas in Iowa as well. And if we go back to the Storm Prediction Center and take a look at the where the 5% risk is, it is actually not just in Minnesota. It also goes down into Iowa as well. And that just goes to show that the risk is a bit widespread along a line. Just subscribed. I appreciate it, Werewolf. Thank you for the subscription. Let's see. I do want to... Oh, geez. Oh, boy. I want to say that's the aliasing. I think that's the aliasing. So I won't say for sure that that is a massive tornadic signature. But regardless, as I mentioned before, this storm is relatively strong, and it will be heading into the Dundas Northfield areas. So as I mentioned before, if you live in the Northfield areas, the Dundas areas, you have a little bit of time. You had a little bit of time, I should say. But now, I would say this is where you get into your safe space as it continues to move up to the north and east, because these storms are moving into your areas. So about 5 to 10 minutes for Dundas, and Dundas at about 10 minutes, that's where it'll be impacting you all, and you guys could be experiencing some tornadic conditions. So please go ahead and get into your safe space. As I mentioned before, lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet with no windows, so you can put as many walls between yourself and the tornadic rotation as possible. I do want to take a 3D again of this storm to see what exactly is happening again. This will be able to tell me what exactly is happening in the storm here. And yeah, look at that. So the you can clearly see the inflow of the former supercell right in here. Here's the inflow notch. And the inflow notch is kind of just churning up all of this outflow from the other supercell, which is kind of just getting in a bit of a dogfight, if you will. So here's the hook right here, the hook of the current tornadic storm. Here was the former tornadic storm right here, and it's this former storm is really just pushing out into the pushing out all the outflow into itself, and it's really making it hard for the current tornado warned storm to be able to continue to try and recycle. But it is taking a bit of time. It is taking its time to recycle, so that is something to keep in mind with all that. But this is some really interesting rotation, some really strong rotation regardless. So that is something to keep in mind as it continues to push on through. If we take a look at the correlation coefficient, there is nothing to indicate that there is anything on the ground right now. But regardless, there is still some rotation here for this tornadic supercell. I do want to take a look a bit further. I want to take a look at some of these other cells. So southern Minnesota. Yeah, so there's some of these storms that are pushing through. They might end up trying to produce here if they can actually sink its roots and be able to continue to sustain or mature. Then that's where we can actually see some more tornadic conditions from these storms. But the reason why the storms up in the north are actually doing so well is because they're a bit closer to the low pressure system, which is actually pushing out a bit more helicity. And actually I can show you all that. Surface the 1 kilometer helicity, and you can see that as it gets further north, you can see the darker blue lines indicate stronger amounts of helicity, and those storms tend to be a bit stronger than others, which is the reason why you see there's the supercell, and it is in around 400 helicity in and around those areas. So that is something to keep in mind with that it is relatively strong wind shear in those areas. But I do want to continue to take a look at the storm just a little bit more. Spectrum width shows that it is still relatively interesting, but the velocities are still the same, and that it is still rotating. That felt weird, just ending it, cutting it off right there. It is still rotating. Well, thanks, Captain Obvious. But no, it still has tornadic rotation, and let's actually update the storm track here for you all. So Dundas, in about 5 to 10 minutes, you guys will be getting some tornadic conditions. Northfield, 5 to 10 minutes as well, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but I'd say 5 to 10 minutes, honestly. So that's something to keep in mind with all of that. And then, oh geez, what the heck are these? Hold up. So, when did this thing appear out of thin air? It's been there. Okay, so that's nice. It's just... I didn't really notice it until now, I guess, but here's a little bit of rotation too. You can see the red's moving... Oh crap, I drew the arrow the wrong way. Red's moving away from the radar, green's moving towards. A little bit of rotation right here, just to the east of Newmarket, just to the south of Farmington. Moving to the north and east towards the Hampton and Empire areas. So if you live over there, you guys also may want to monitor the National Weather Service to see if there is any sort of severe capabilities or tornadic capabilities within the storm. And if they issue a tornado warning, you know what to do. Get into your safe space, get underground, or get into the lowest innermost part of your building. Echo tops, as I mentioned before, are still above 30,000 feet. They're actually around 33,000 feet, which is pretty interesting here. So that's something to keep in mind with that this is still a supercell, and this thing still is trucking its way along the southern plains of Minnesota. If you guys are new to the stream, be sure to help support me by clicking that like button and subscribing, as well as sharing this with friends and family, or even on social media, and that way people may be able to get on the stream and be able to be notified of what is happening in the United States in regards to severe weather. I do videos every day to try and do forecasts to help you all out, but this stream is mainly based around severe weather live streams. So we are here to help dissect these storms as they move into specific areas. So that's just kind of the bio of what we do on the channel here. If you want to see that, please be sure to help support me by liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell to stay up to date with my videos and live streams, as well as share on social media. One thing I do want to mention real quickly, on a separate note, that all this blue up here is snow. And it's not just tornadoes, even though this is what the stream is all about. So there is a bit of this winter storm component, this cold air component that's producing some heavier amounts of snow into parts of Minnesota, and it's already produced some amounts into South Dakota before. You can already see that there is inches of snow reported across the board, so that it is something to keep in mind with that. But regardless, there seems to be a lot more important factors here, such as some tornadic rotations, including a tornado warning right now that I mentioned for Dakota and Rice counties. That'll be in effect until, let's see, I believe this is 5:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that is indeed what exactly it is for. So another 5 minutes before this thing expires. Personally, I think this will get extended so that you might actually see another tornado warning coming up pretty soon. But there is still a bit of rotation here on this storm that's heading towards Dundas and Northfield. All the people who had just subscribed, I appreciate you all for doing so. Thank you so much. It actually means a lot to me. The support that you all have is absolutely amazing. So I just really appreciate you all who help me out. Supercell. Yeah, tornado warning Supercell. This is definitely a wall cloud right here with the meso that is reaching around the storm. So there is indeed a tornadic component with this particular storm, and it is still going strong in southern Minnesota. Nash from Nashville posts on a close-up wall cloud. Jeez, It's pretty crazy. As I said, at N8_Snyder. If you at that on Twitter, then I'll be able to see the stuff that you at me. That way I'll be able to see what all is on Twitter while I discuss what all is happening live on radar. I want to take a look at the satellite real quickly again. And yeah, there it is. You can see more of these blue dots form out in Iowa and northern Missouri. What's a supercell? So a supercell is a mature thunderstorm. It basically is as I said, a mature thunderstorm, but it is the type of storm that is most likely able to rotate and be able to produce large hail if it had enough energy. So there's if it has enough energy, if it has enough wind shear, because there's all sorts of wind patterns that happen in the atmosphere. So at a specific time, at a specific place, which just so happens to be right now in Minnesota, then there's you can get opportunities and instances where supercells can form. So just long story short, supercell is a mature thunderstorm that can rotate and produce hail and possibly produce tornadoes. So there is a little bit of rotation here near Farmington, but I can't exactly say for sure that this thing will be able to consolidate in itself. I do want to take a look at some of the other areas, though. Des Moines, I want to take a look and see if there's any storms here. And there actually is a lot of storms here. Quite a few, actually. But I don't exactly see a whole lot of interesting things here to talk about. So the main thing to talk about here is in is south of Minneapolis, this tornado warning for Dakota and Rice counties. So as I mentioned before, if you live here or if you live near Dundas, Northfield, you guys need to go ahead, take your proper precautions, get underground or get into the lowest innermost part of your building, particularly a bathroom or a closet with no windows, so that you can put as many walls between yourself and the tornadic rotation as possible. But actually, let's get some timings out here for you all. If you live in Dundas, by the way, as soon as you get this transmission, you need to go ahead and get in your safe space, because the rotation will be literally right on top of you. So don't risk it. Get into your safe space. If you live in Northfield, I would also get into your safe space now. So if you know anyone who lives along State Route 3, you guys need to go ahead and get into your proper precautions. The tornado warning just expired because it is 5:15 Central Standard Time, but there is still a little bit of rotation on here, and if this thing does intensify, then it very well could be talked about again as a tornadic storm. But yeah, I would still get into your safe space for right now, but that's just me. So Farmington, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of rotation. It's a bit linear, a bit more of gusty winds just piling through and pushing on through these general areas, but still something to keep in mind with all of that. That the areas just to the east of Lakeville, near Farmington, Rosemount, you guys could be experiencing some gusty winds here. A new tornado warning that just got issued for this storm, and I did mention before that this thing very well could be reissued, and that is exactly what has happened here. There is the new tornado warning for Dakota and Rice counties. That'll be in effect until 5:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, as I mentioned before, if you lived in Dundas and Northfield, I would get into your safe space regardless, and that is exactly what has happened here. The new tornado warning has been issued, and you are not out of the clear just yet. So, I said Dundas and Northfield, get into your safe space now. If you live along County Road 47, You guys also need to get into your safe space. If you live near Randolph, it'll impact you in about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's the time frame that you guys have before this tornadic storm gets to you. Hampton, that'll impact you in about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you live over there, you guys have a little bit of time. You can get pillows, you can get helmets. That way you can put as many layers in between yourself and the tornadic rotation as well. So that is something to keep in mind from with this storm here. As it continues to move on through, Hampton and New Trier, as well as Vermilion, you guys could be impacted later on in about 15 to 20, maybe 25 minutes from now. So just a little bit of a time frame that you guys aren't exactly out of the clear, and that you guys still could be experiencing some severe or tornadic conditions from the storm. There also is, and this is something that I am now seeing a bit more, is that this storm near Rosemont and Coates, as well as Farmington, is starting to intensify a little bit. It's starting to get a supercell component to it. We'll take a look at the past couple of frames. You notice how there wasn't as many reds as there were just before, right and around here. So this was about 15 minutes ago, and if we take a look a bit more, you can see there's a lot more reds here, and this is a supercell that is blowing up, and that is becoming a bit more apparent here on radar. So if you live near Farmington, Rich Valley, Coates, as well as Cottage Grove, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space right now, because I have a feeling that this thing very well could be trying to wrap up, and it could very well be tornado warned soon by the National Weather Service. So something to keep in mind with all of that. Let's look back at the storm here on Northfield. We just had a new thing here. Mesoscale discussion. New watch probability 60%. New severe thunderstorm warning. This is in Iowa for Clark and Union counties. That'll be in effect until 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts is the cause there, and less than an inch-sized hail. So if you live in those areas, seek indoors and get into shelter. That way, you aren't impacted by the storm majorly. But yeah, as I mentioned before, this storm near Farmington is looking really interesting here, especially since if this storm could start to rotate a bit more and more, there very well could be a new tornado warning on our hands. So that is something to keep in mind from this. Went from supercell to QLCS circulation. Looks like it's getting a supercell characteristics back. I agree. I agree that this thing is indeed starting to churn a bit. So that is something to keep in mind there. Look at California. I'll look at California on radar scope right here. So I do not see anything. As a matter of fact, the area near Fresno seems to be a bit out of reach. It is almost weakened below severe capabilities, but it still is looking like you could get some gusty winds in those areas. But I would say the severe thunderstorm warning is not as important as this tornado warning right now. No offense. But yeah, as I mentioned before, Rich Valley, Coates, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space. Honestly, I think this thing is starting to try and wrap up. And if you know anyone who lives in those areas, tell them to get into their safe space or monitor the National Weather Service, or send them to this stream. That way they can be able to watch this. And the same thing for everyone else. If you guys like the content, or if you want to help other people out by getting the word out, you can share the stream on social media, and people will be able to click on it and be able to watch this way, watch the analysis here that we provide. And if you do like the content, like it, subscribe it. Liking actually helps too, because believe it or not, YouTube's algorithm states that if you like the video, then it says to YouTube that, hey, these people like the video. A lot of people like it. I should send it to more people. We should have more people click on this video or watch it. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly how that works. And so if you like the video, more people will be able to watch it, and more people will be able to click on the video to watch the content. All right, so here's the supercell that's moving into the Minneapolis area. It's moving off to the north and east into the St. Paul, Minnesota area. so that's something to keep in mind too. But you also have these other storms that are forming down into the central parts of Iowa, down into Minneapolis. Not Minneapolis, geez, Minneapolis is up here. Missouri. So that's something to keep in mind with that too, that there are also some other storms that are forming and that are moving through Iowa. So it is really something to watch out for. I want to take a look at Des Moines radar real quickly. Here's the severe thunderstorm warning. It's actually heading into the Des Moines general vicinity. But I don't see any storms that have any real big rotation. But it is something to keep in mind with that it is still there. I assume this was a gaming channel, but I'm shook. It's just... So this channel here in particular is strictly weather. 100% strictly to informing people about what all is going on in the US, whether it's severe weather, it's tropical weather, so like tropics and hurricanes and stuff like that, or winter weather. And I just recently uploaded videos, and I'm going to continue to upload videos as long as I can to try and get forecasts out there to you all so that you guys can plan your days accordingly. Yeah, this thing still has some really nice rotation around here, Northfield. I said before that Northfield was going to be impacted as soon as they got the transmission. That is exactly what has happened. So the rotation itself is right on top of Northfield, but now it'll be heading into the Randolph areas in about 5 to 10 minutes, and then Hampton and New Trier, or Trier, in about 10 to 15 minutes. So that's something to keep in mind with that. But what else is something to keep in mind is this area near Coates and Rich Valley. This has definitely gotten its act together 100%. So I wouldn't be surprised if this storm actually produces a tornado a bit later on in the day. Right now it still has to mature a lot, but the supercell, you can see, is very similar to how the other supercell, the current tornado warning cell, was, and how its echo tops are well above 35,000 feet, 35,800 feet actually. And if you guys don't know what the echo tops are, this basically is when the radar sends these beams out, it looks for how high the thunderstorms go up. So it looks for specific precipitation at a specific height. And the highest it goes actually is shown up here on echo tops. So you can see that the precipitation is as high as 35,800 feet. That's how tall these storms are, which is pretty tall for how for this particular day. So that's something to keep in mind with that. But regardless, you will still experience gusty winds in and around the Rich Valley and Coates areas. So if you live over there, I'd seek indoors immediately. A lot of people I've heard are from Lakeville. They are actually about to get some rain right now, but it is not the tornadic part of these storms, so that is the good news here. But if you know anyone who lives along United States Route 52 from Cannon Falls all the way up north into St. Paul, they will be impacted by some of these storms, whether it's gusty winds or tornadic conditions. Just for anyone who's wondering where the risk is today, let's go back to the Storm Prediction Center, and you can see right here in this circle here, if you look at the dark green and the yellows, that is where the worst of the severe weather is going to be. So the yellows indicate a slight risk, and the dark green indicates a marginal. The light green is a general thunderstorm, which isn't really isn't too bad, but the hail is 15% chance in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and northern Iowa, as well as there is a bit of a hail risk over in Kansas and Missouri as well. So if you live over there, you also could be experiencing some large hail, and upwards of an inch, maybe even larger than an inch. So that's something to keep in mind there. 15% chance for wind from Wisconsin and Minnesota all the way down into Iowa, as well as a 5% chance for wind that extends all the way into Oklahoma. So you have a 15% chance or a 5% chance of experiencing damaging wind gusts in upwards of 58 miles per hour or above. And then the tornado risk, as I mentioned before, is 5%. So you have a 5% chance of experiencing tornadic conditions. This is mainly localized into the extreme southeast parts of Minnesota, as well as to the northern to central parts of Iowa. So something to keep in mind with that there. Thank you for not turning the smoothing option. I only turn it on for reflectivity. Everything else, it's a crime. I'm sorry. Smooth and rot, stupid. Smooth correlation coefficient, stupid. Smooth spectrum width, also stupid. Smooth echo tops, really stupid. I don't like it. Oh, we just got a new ping from IEM bot. Updates the severe thunderstorm warning. So Union County in Iowa, that has been canceled, but Clark County, if you live in Clark County in Iowa, you still have a severe thunderstorm warning, and that will continue to go on until 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'd say the supercell north of the tornado warning storm can still produce a tornado. I'd say is becoming a bit more linear wind threat. I agree. There is a new severe thunderstorm warning for that storm. So Dakota, Ramsey, and Washington counties, that'll be in effect until 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time for less than 50 mile per hour winds, but an inch and a quarter size hail. And there actually is a report near Rosemount that there is quarter-sized hail that has fallen. So that is the reason why the severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, and that those areas are in a severe thunderstorm warning. But I agree, this could produce something tornadic. As a matter of fact, right here, these winds right here could be jutting out. The outflow could be jutting out just to the north of Rich Valley. So we'll have to watch this area in particular to see if that actually turns tornadic soon. But something to keep in mind with all of that there is a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that thing also could be tornadic, but we don't see a tornado possible on that new severe thunderstorm warning. So that is the good news. But the storm that has the tornado warning, that is in Dakota and Rice counties, Northfield and Dundas, you guys are out of the risk. So that is the good news for you all. You are all clear. But the people near Randolph and Hampton, Randolph, you're going to be impacted in about 5 minutes. So you guys need to prepare accordingly and get into your safe space, as well as the people near Hampton and New Trier. You guys will be impacted in about, I'd say, 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys are having trouble locating where the rotation is, the greens are moving towards the radar, the reds are moving away, and you can see this general spin in the atmosphere that indicates the rotation of the tornadic thunderstorm. So it is right here, just to the west of Randolph, just to the south and west of Hampton, moving to the north and east at about 45 miles per hour. So as I mentioned before, if you live in those areas near Hampton, Randolph, New Trier, you guys need to go ahead and get into your safe space. Vermilion, you guys will be impacted in about 10 to 15 minutes, so you still have a little bit of time, but it's still something to keep in mind. What state? This is in Minnesota. This storm is in just south of Minneapolis, and it is moving to the north and east, eventually heading off towards the Mississippi River on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So that's something to keep in mind with that. Is Dallas getting a tornado? Not today, but maybe later on. There is the chance for some severe storms later, but that's still something to keep in mind later on this week. I've been talking about that in some of my videos, so if you guys want to watch that, you guys can. I'll also upload a video. I upload videos in the morning of each day. That way you guys are able to know what's happening that day as well as in the future. So if you want to wait for those, you can wait for my video tomorrow morning so that I talk about it. But today, Dallas, Texas is not going to be impacted. So that is the good news. You guys heard that little ping, and you might have also seen this this polygon alter a bit, and that is mainly because it has been updated. Rice County has been canceled, so the people in Rice County, like Dundas and Northfield, you guys have been given the all clear. You are out of the risk. But Dakota County, you guys are still in a tornado warning, especially since there is still some tornadic rotation here on the cross, right actually at the intersection of County Route 86 and County Road 86 and County Road 47. So if you live in those areas, you guys need to be, you need to keep that in mind, that there is still tornadic rotation here. Let us see. I do want to see real quickly the satellite again. And if I can see the satellite, I'll be able to determine where more cells are. And look at this. There are more cells that are firing off in southern Illinois. Jeez, what is it with me? Southern Iowa and northern Iowa. And this is something to keep in mind, that there could be more storms that are initiating, and they could move on through later on tonight as stronger thunderstorms. Maybe even tornadic storms. They are in the 2% risk, so that's something to keep in mind with that. Is Nashville going to be impacted by this? If you're meaning Nashville, Tennessee, then no. But still something to keep in mind with that. If you guys are new to the channel and you do want to support us, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And hit the notification bell too if you want to be able to stay up to date with my content. And, you know, because I do... The main basis of this channel is to do live streams and to help get the word out that these severe storms are impacting specific areas. And so, yeah, I know you could easily go to any other weather channel on YouTube to get this, get the same content that I do. But I firmly believe that I'm good at my job. And if you want to, if you want to stick around and watch how we do things, and also enjoy weather just like I do, share the passion of weather, feel free to stick around here, because that is exactly what we will do. We just got a new ping, and ping pong ball sized hail has been reported in Dakota County. So that is something to keep in mind too. Ping pong ball sized hail. Alrighty, well, that is nice. That is bonkers, dude. Holy crap. That is pretty crazy. That is really crazy, actually. Will this hit St. Louis Park? Give me a second. I will look that up for you. That way, you'll be able to know. So give me a second. St. Park, Minnesota. This is on the opposite side of Minneapolis. So the tornadic conditions itself, you guys probably won't experience that, which is good news. How do you get all of those pings? So for weather reports, I go to this thing called IEMBot. And IEMBot is a website to where you can take a look at specific jurisdictions from the National Weather Service and be able to receive updates as to reports or warnings that they issue and stuff like that. So that's the reason why I'm getting all these pings, and that's the reason why I'm keeping this up to date with you all. Speaking of keeping up to date, a new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Grundy and Marshall counties. That'll be in effect until 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. So if you guys live in those areas, I would seek shelter indoors. That way you won't be able to be barraged by hail and winds, because that is not fun, I will have to admit. So the tornado warning right now, the rotation is heading near Hampton and New Trier right now. I'd said before that if you live in those areas, you need to go and get into your safe space. Now, the areas that are going to be impacted are around Vermilion, along the County Route 47 area. So from Hampton all the way up into Hastings, you guys could be experiencing some gusty winds there. And we also have to continue to monitor this storm near Cottage Grove, because as that continues to move up through, this storm could possibly be able to produce some real gusty winds in those areas. So if you live up near Cottage Grove, I think this is Afton. Yep, Afton, Lake St. Croix Beach, as well as Lakeland Shores, and there's 2 Lakelands? Hold up. Lakeville and Lakeland. Yep, so Lakeland, you guys are in the warning right now. I was just about to say, I can't read. But, Lakeland, you guys are, could also be in the crosshairs of some gusty winds. And, Oak Park Heights, as well as Bayport, and Stillwater, you guys could also be impacted as well. So that's something to keep in mind with that. IEMBot tells me that there is a new severe thunderstorm warning. Clark, Decatur, and Lucas counties. That'll be in effect until 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and less than severe sized hail. So that would be below an inch and stuff like that. The tornado warning for Dakota County has expired. That is the good news here. And I did want to mention that this thing does look like it is a bit more discombobulated. Mainly because, let's go back in time here and we'll see how strong it was before and how organized it was. Way back when, it did look really interesting, like an actual tornadic storm should. So you can see right here, this is the rotation. We'll take a look at the storm relative velocities. You could see the greens moving towards, the reds moving away, and right in the middle would be the rotation indicated in this upside down triangle. But now, as we continue to zoom along, you can see that the rotation isn't really as evident anymore. It's not as strong as it was. You can still see the greens moving towards and the reds moving away, indicating that there is rotation near Hampton, but it isn't as strong as it once was, meaning that the tornado warning is allowed to expire because it is not as strong as it once was before. I do want to take a look real quickly at these other severe thunderstorm warnings, and yeah, they are quite interesting. I will say that much. Oh wow. Okay, so golf ball sized hail has been reported. Grove Height in Dakota County, Minnesota. Yeah, golf ball sized hail has been reported. So that is pretty insane in itself right there too. So that area in Dakota, Ramsey, and Washington counties, you guys are getting hail in upwards of golf balls in some instances, which is all the more reason why you should stay indoors. All the more reason, because you do not want to be pelted with golf balls. Like if you can imagine going outside, you have it raining, and all of a sudden golf balls start falling from the sky. You do not want to be pelted with golf balls. That is not fun. So, something to keep in mind there. And there's another report of golf ball sized hail. That's also in Grove Height in Dakota County. So that's something to keep in mind there too. Is that it's not just one it's not just, you know, one hailstone that has fallen and it's like, oh, I got up to golf ball sized hail. No, there's multiple hailstones of golf ball sized hail. So that's all the more reason that you need to go indoors and, you know, just seek shelter. All right, you don't have to go into your safe space. You can safely watch it out your window. It's not recommended because you could get struck by lightning. But then again, you know, getting struck by lightning is pretty rare. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But you can watch it out your window or something like that. Just don't go outside. That'd be great if you didn't get pelted by golf ball sized hail. What about Burnsville? Is it gonna hit? Let's take a look at let's try and oh geez. Area forecast discussion. That's nice. Anyways, let's take a look at Burnsville real quickly. CV, no. Burnsville, Minnesota is a bit further south. So Burnsville seems to be a bit out of the risk, especially with where the main storms are. It is. Now, there is a storm. I saw someone that just asked about Shakopee. There is a storm that's right over Shakopee that is producing smaller amounts of hail. So that's something to keep in mind too. But the main storms that are producing golf ball sized hail, they're on the opposite side of the city in St. Paul. So that is the good news for you all if you live in the eastern side of Minneapolis, so the eastern metro area. But the areas near Lakeland, I would say get indoors, or if you have a car, put it in a garage, because golf ball sized hail actually leaves dents or cracks in windshields. So that's something to keep in mind with that too, that you could also be experiencing some stronger amounts of hail that could be pumping up some large hail. Speaking of large hail, another report in South St. Paul of half-dollar sized hail, which is 1.25 inches. Shakopee? Is it really? Dude, there was someone in my Discord server that said Shakopee the entire time, and he said he lived there. But no, it's actually pronounced Shakopee now. Thank you, Misty, for saying that. Now I will say that from now on. Tornado warning for Burnsville? I don't exactly say so. There might have been a tornado warning before in Burnsville, but not right now. That is the good news. There is no tornado warnings right now. By the way, if I butcher anybody's town name, just realize I don't live in those areas, so you know, I don't want to say it's. I don't want. Let's put it this way: I don't know how it's pronounced, so don't get mad at me. I don't live over there. I live in the Mid-Atlantic, far, far away from where you guys are being impacted. So that is something to keep in mind there. Look at Grantsburg. Yeah, I will definitely try and figure out where that is so that I would be able to tell you. Grantsburg, is it Wisconsin or is it? It is Wisconsin. Okay, so that's a bit far north. Personally, I think you guys are completely fine. You guys might get some isolated precip though, like freezing rain, but no tornadoes or severe weather, stuff like that. So that is the good news. So now, check Kansas, there's cells forming. Is there really? Bro, hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold. Oh my god, my ears. They're dead. I think they are dead. Yeah, there are little cells forming. Huh. Interesting. It was above the tornado that expired. Okay, that makes sense. NC Mayor, welcome back. Weston Burger, hello. What did you miss? A couple more tornado warnings. But now, now they have expired and they're now a bit more discombobulated, so that is the good news. But there are storms that are forming in Iowa, so that is something to keep in mind too, that there is some more instances to where there could be more storms. There's a slight in Kansas. Yes, there is, but that would be for wind and hail. There is 0 tornado risk over there. The tornado risk is mainly located in Iowa and Minnesota. Hold up. Okay, so I don't see any rotation based off of La Crosse's radar or La Croix. Can we get some Illinois coverage? So Illinois, real quickly. This is just real quickly. So Illinois is in like this general thunderstorm, which means you can get some general thunderstorms to push on through. But if you want to know specifically as to when you'll get those thunderstorms, then they'll pass on through the overnight hours into tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, basically, and then depending upon how far south you are, you can experience it maybe later on in the evening tonight or tomorrow night. Someone followed me on Twitch. I'm actually surprised. But Rift Coast Sludge House, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Which I do have a Twitch channel, so I play games and stuff like that and meme over there. But that's not really as a priority as this weather channel is, so it's more or less something to where if you guys want to know what I'm like off of you know, weather. You know, obviously I'm an adult, so I do say some profanity every now and then, but you know, that is something that I do. So if you want to go see for yourself, in the description down below is my Twitch channel, but still something to keep in mind with that. Speaking of people who need to follow, if you do like the content, like my content in general, whether it's, you know, the severe weather live streams, or if you've watched any of my videos, please be sure to subscribe and or click the notification bell if you've already subscribed. That way you can stay up to date, because if you stay up to date, then you will be informed about what's happening in the United States about weather and stuff like that. So that is something to keep in mind. I hit 2K subs. Oh god. Oh god. What have y'all done? What have you all done? No. What have you all done? Oh jeez. Seabolt, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate it. Jeez. What have you all done? Now I gotta do a room tour because everyone asked for a room tour at 2,000 subs. Oh good lord. Oh well. We'll tackle that later. But let's get back to the storms here. Let's get some realism in the chat, please. And take a look at Des Moines real quickly. So these storms here in southern Des Moines actually look like could be wrapping up a little bit too. There could be some storms that could be trying to become supercellular. Look at this. Got some hook characteristics, especially near Osceola as well as New Virginia. So that's something to keep in mind too there, that there is a tornado risk other than in places other than Minnesota. So that's something to keep in mind as well. It's Trison. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate that as well. But yeah, there is a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings now in Iowa, and they may be 2, but there's still a bunch compared to what they were before. Looks like Lakeville's all clear now. Keeping my eyes peeled for the room tour. Oh good. Oh good lord. Someone play Piano Man. Des Moines. That's right, I do emphasize the Des Moines, the S at the end. That's unfortunate. But yeah. Des Moines seems to be out of the risk actually, but it's just the areas to the east of that as well as to the south of that that have a bit more of a severe weather or a tornado threat later on in the evening. Look at Moose Lake where there's a winter storm, there's strong rotating storm. What? What do you mean? Hold up. What do you mean? What does the beeping noise in the background mean? Gemma97, thank you for the follow. So the beeping noise is actually IEM bot. So IEM bot. Oh geez. And NASCAR, thank you for the follow as well. I really do appreciate that. So the beeping is actually IEM bot, and what IEM bot is this actually is a website to where I can look at specific National Weather Service jurisdictions, and they can be able to give me updates as to if there is new severe thunderstorm warnings or new storm reports like hail or gusty winds, or maybe even stuff from the Storm Prediction Center. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that this thing is out there, and if you guys want to use it, you can go ahead and feel free. Just look up IEM bot on Google or any other thing, and that is, you'll be sure to find it. I would think you'll be able to find it. Let us see. So I want to take a look at the meso analysis real quickly. There is still an interesting tornado parameter out in Minnesota.
Here we go.
In Minnesota, so there is actually the chance for some severe weather in there too. Oh my goodness gracious. What just...
Here we go.
Bro, there's so many follows on Twitch now. It's kind of mental. Hold up. I can't even react to all of them.
Here we go.
Jeez. Alright, my goodness gracious. Augustina, thank you for the follow. Allard, Team Meryl, thank you for the follow. Alathina, thank you for the follow. Carrot, Carita, thank you for the follow. And Aubrey, thank you for the follow. I really do appreciate that. Jeez. Everything is just kind of marching in. Kind of mental. Yeah, Dante's been here for a while. To all the people who's been here for my entire existence and have supported me, I just want to say, you guys don't even know how much I appreciate you all. Especially since I was there, you guys were there at Easter and stuff like that. Noah, by the way, thank you for the follow. But my goodness, to all the people who have been there with me way before, thank you. Thank you for sticking around and watching this idiot talk about severe weather and tornadoes. Goodness gracious. No, the thing didn't do the tornado thing. Or the police thing. That's stupid. Hold up. I gotta fix that. I really do. Sven Hoek, thank you for the $2 super chat. I really do appreciate that. Spiffy, thank you for the follow. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so this is what the this is actually what the donation noise is supposed to be. So real quickly, Pop Tart, thank you for the follow. I really do appreciate that. Okay, so this is actually what it's supposed to sound like. That's the sound bit for the donations. So I gotta do the thing too as well. Sven Hoek with the $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate it. My goodness. Y'all are mental. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. We all have issues. Alright, let's get back to severe weather. Jeez, we've been kind of going on our own here. We've been going mental for quite a while. So, jeez. Storm Pro, thank you for the follow. I really do appreciate that. A new report or something like that on IMBot. Updates to Tornado Watch. Okay, so this is actually something. Jeez. Mad Bingham, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate that. Okay, so, jeez. Okay, so two things. First thing, the Tornado Watch has been updated. So Faribault, Freeborn, Steele, and Waseca counties in Minnesota, you guys have had your Tornado Watch canceled. So you guys are in the clear. The second thing that I want to say real quickly is that there has been reports of, and I'm not making this up, egg-sized hail. That's 2 inches. 2 inches. That has been reported in southern St. Paul in Dakota County. So, if you live in those areas, I hope you've went indoors. Because that is, that's large hail. That is significantly large hail. What's my Twitch? Hockey Boy and Nate. I'm gonna be changing it to Nate Snyder in the next 2.5 months, though. But yeah, that's my Twitch. Yeah, egg-sized hail. 2 inches. That's like that big. My hand is not that large, to be fair, but it's egg-sized hail. That's really large. There's also, what the? When was this? Hailstone of 2.5 inches. Large conglomerate hailstone via photo measurement. It's from spike to spike. 2.5 inches. 2.5 inch sized hail. My goodness. That is really large.
Here we go.
Brandon Ellis, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate that. Jeez. Aren't I glad that I told Southern St. Paul to get inside, because that is not a fun day. Can you imagine setting your car out, coming back out, and all of a sudden you have those sized hailstones impacting you? Keely Medina, thank you for the follow. I really do appreciate it. Remember when you burnt your hand on the grill? I remember when my grill blew up in my face. That was not fun. Jeez. Yeah, large amounts of hail, but luckily all the severe thunderstorm warnings in Minnesota have either expired or canceled. So that is the good news here. Which means we are mainly isolated to these areas in Iowa, and there isn't really a lot of areas to where we can have rotation. This is more or less the gusty wind threat. What's the music for? Follows on Twitch, but if someone is public on YouTube and they actually subscribe to me, they also get that that sound as well. So it's whenever the music comes on, that's just like a nice little tone that's in the background for whenever someone follows and stuff like that. It's like a notification. Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. Oh, you're Brandon Ellis? Appreciate that. Holy crap. Kansas City cell is, or the Kansas cell is getting stronger. Yeah, so let's go over to Kansas and find out what we're dealing with here, shall we? Before we do that, actually, let's go over to IEMBot. Oh, IEMBot, our Prometheus, what fire of knowledge do you bring to us mortals today? Severe thunderstorm warning for Grundy County is expired. Nice to see. Storm Poopy Masta, thank you for their follow. Jeez. How do people come up with names like this? I mean, to be fair, my name is not really, you know, all too different. Kansas City. Pleasant Hill. There we go. And then Wichita. Get that up. Look at Moose Lake. Yep. Let me take a look at that real quickly. Hi from Fargo, North Dakota. Bobby Johnson. Wow, that is amazing. The severe risk is not even in your area, and people still do appear. I appreciate that. Just to let you know, Bobby, even though this isn't impacting you, if there's ever like severe storms or severe setups that are in your areas, I do make videos every day.
Here we go.
And or I do live stream on those days, so I do forecasts and stuff like that to help you guys plan your days accordingly. Revin, thank you for the follow, and Rockstar2 Colin, thank you for the follow as well, both on Twitch. Yeah, my old name used to be Hockey Boy N8, so, but now it's N8 or Nate Snyder, because if you say it fast. All right, Moose Lake, which is up near Duluth, or it's like in between Duluth and Minneapolis. So up here's Moose Lake. Real quickly, because someone said they wanted me to look at Moose Lake. And I'll allow that to load a bit, so we'll look back at the storms here. These storms have became a lot more linear. Burnsville is safe, and Minnesota in general. For the most part, Minnesota seems to be kind of in the clear. Most of the storms have kind of just pushed off, and they're not really as strong as they once were, but
Here we go.
Yeah, seems to be it. Jeez. Someone took my name and took out the 8. Thanks for the follow. Alright, so the stuff in Moose Lake probably should have loaded by now. So let's take a look at that real quickly. Doesn't seem to be any rotation, which is the good news. It seems to be more or less either isolated precip and or snow, so that's good news there as well. Alright, so I'm not saying this event is completely dead by any stretch of the imagination. By the way, if you live near Lakeville, you guys are getting impacted again by more thunderstorms. So that's something to keep in mind too. But they aren't as strong as they were, so that's better news for you all. But I do want to take a look real quickly at the Storm Prediction Center for the next couple of days out. And I know there's some people who don't just live in Minnesota, and so I do want to tell them where some of the activity is in some of the other areas. So that was day 1. Here's day 2, and the severe risk is really for just the areas of southern Illinois into southern Missouri, into parts of eastern or southeastern Kansas, I should say, and northeastern Oklahoma near the Tulsa area. So marginal risk, most likely for wind. There is a risk for hail as well, but definitely not a tornado risk by any stretch of the imagination. Day 3, however, this is Friday. I very well could live stream this event. I very well could live stream this event on Friday. I don't know quite yet, but I will tell you all, I always tell people on the mornings of each event whether I will live stream or not. This morning I said there was a 50-50 chance that I could live stream, and I did live stream today because the Storm Prediction Center shared my idea as to today's event in Minnesota to be a bit tornadic. So that's something to keep in mind too, that it depends more or less upon how the Storm Prediction Center views it as well. But I usually do tell people in the mornings of each event whether I do live stream or not. So please be sure to watch my videos. They come out in the mornings, unless if I feel like there's actually, if I upload it in the evenings, it'll be a whole lot better and I'll get more views. But I think mornings is good for me right now. But slight risk for central to west central parts of Oklahoma into the northern Texas Panhandle. That could be for some gusty winds and some hail. Maybe a slight chance for tornadoes, but how everything is set up, it is pretty shaky. So I won't exactly say that there is a very big chance, but there is still some more channels on Twitch being created. But thank you for the follows. I really do appreciate that. And I'll show you guys on the models what this all looks like as well, before we get right back into the action with the live severe weather. And then day 4, which is Saturday. Look at this risk, you all. 15% chance for severe storms, which would be a slight risk, mind you all. 15% chance for southern Kansas into central Oklahoma down into central Texas. And personally, I think this 15% could also be expanded a bit further south too, so it goes into like San Antonio and stuff like that. But that's still something to keep in mind there, that these storms are there is storms forecasted for the Central Plains. This is severe weather season, guys. This is this is the middle part of March, and this is technically around when severe weather starts to kick off. So this is about that time to where we can start seeing some severe weather into the main parts of Tornado Alley. And then day 5, which is on Sunday, we also have a 15% chance for storms, so another slight risk for southeastern parts of Kansas, eastern parts of Oklahoma into the Texarkana regions, northeastern parts of Texas, northwestern parts of Louisiana, much of Arkansas, into southern parts of Missouri, and a little bit of Mississippi as well. So that's something to keep in mind there. And then if we go on a bit further, there isn't any more risks. So day 6 would be Monday. They don't have, they said that the predictability was a bit too low, so that's something to keep in mind there. Day 7, also nothing, and day 8, nothing there. So if you were to take anything from what I just said from the past 5 minutes, is that on Friday there's a risk for severe weather in Oklahoma and northern Texas. On Saturday, let me go on to the next day here. On Saturday, there is a risk for severe weather extending from southern Kansas all the way into central, maybe even south central Texas, going through Oklahoma. So much of Oklahoma is in that risk. And then on Sunday, there is a risk for severe weather in southern Missouri, southern Kansas, all the way into eastern Oklahoma, the Texarkana region, which is northeastern Texas, northwestern Louisiana, much of Arkansas, and a little bit of Mississippi. So something to keep that in mind, and that I could stream those events, so you might want to stick around for if I do live stream those events. And I'll also be uploading videos every morning, so if you want to keep up to date with that, I highly recommend turning on notifications. Where's this at? So the severe weather event, as I mentioned before, will be mainly for the southern parts of the U.S., into parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, all the way down into Arkansas, from Friday all the way over to Sunday. Will the storms ever hit Houston, Texas? They most likely could. And I'll show you guys here. I'll take a look at the GFS model real quickly, which is the global forecasting model. And here, we'll take a look at Texas. And this is Friday morning right now. So this is Friday morning, and we'll go on through. Here's Saturday evening. And Saturday evening, there's actually a cell that forms just south of Amarillo. So there actually is some storms that could move into Oklahoma and could cause some havoc over into central parts of Oklahoma. But that's something to keep in mind too, that Saturday morning, here's another low pressure system that moves off through Colorado, and you have more storms right here. You can see this line of storms that will begin to push off. So this is the afternoon hours of Saturday, and as it continues to move on through, you can see that line consolidates into the evening. It'll start to impact Oklahoma City at around the 7 o'clock hours, and that'll continue to move on through into the latter parts of the evening. And then on Sunday morning, you can see in Sunday morning all the way to Sunday afternoon, you guys will be getting a squall line that'll just push on through into Arkansas, into Louisiana, and in eastern Texas. So that's something to keep in mind with that too, that you'll have a nice set of storms that'll be buzzing through in the early morning hours of Sunday and into the afternoon hours. Is it safe in Burnsville? You see thunder and lightning. So there are some line of storms that have been passing through, but they aren't as severe as the storms that passed through your area before. So you should be safe, but I would stay indoors, mainly because I wouldn't risk going outside during a thunderstorm. That's just kind of my philosophy, unless if I'm storm chasing. So anyways, back to the storms over here. The line will continue to push on through. Someone asked if it was going to hit Houston. I would say Sunday morning. Saturday evening into Sunday morning, you can get this line of storms that will be able to breach the Houston area, into the Shreveport areas, and maybe even the Little Rock areas by Sunday morning. So that's something to keep in mind there for all of that. You're in Brooklyn Center, and the tornado sirens were just on. It was really dark and a lot of lightning. Oh, really? Sheesh. That was pretty crazy. If you guys are new to the stream and you want to help support me, please be sure to leave a like on this live stream and subscribe if you are new, as well as hit the notification bell so that you are up to date with all my content. That includes videos and severe weather live streams, just like this one today, because this is what the channel was built on: severe weather content. I'll let you guys in on the purpose of this. Hold up. MLG Gaming Swag 69, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate that. I'll let you in on a on the reason why this channel was created, the inspiration. A lot of you guys most likely have watched the Weather Channel through severe weather and stuff like that. And my inspiration, the person that I love to watch, was Dr. Greg Forbes. He is a phenomenal meteorologist. And I may not be a meteorologist right now, but I'm working on it with going into college and all that. So that's something to keep in mind too, that I am attempting to study in college and become a meteorologist, unlike most of these weather YouTubers on YouTube. So that's something to keep in mind with all of that. But Dr. Greg Forbes, a huge inspiration to me. And, you know, because there wasn't really a whole lot of stuff that was on YouTube, and the Weather Channel kind of had fallen off a cliff because their analysis wasn't as good, I decided to create this channel because I wanted to help people out if no one else was. So that was the purpose for me creating the stream, or creating this channel. And the fact that we got over 2,000 subscribers is still mind-blowing to me. How we got here, don't know, no clue, but it was a amazing ride. I want to take a look at some more storms. It doesn't seem to be a whole lot moving on through anymore. So this event for tornadoes could have diminished a bit, which is the good news for most people who are in the tornado watch. But bad news for people who may want to watch my stream, which means I'll most likely have to end it relatively soon. I'll have to end it anyways because in about an hour I do have to leave to go coach my hockey team. I'm a coach, so that's a thing too. But I will have to end the stream soon, and it'll either be because the severe weather event is dead or because I'll have to leave. But it looks like the event is kind of diminishing a bit, which is good. So that's something to keep in mind. Are there any questions for me? I'd love to be able to answer them for you all. Poppy Promasta, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I really do appreciate it. How many followers do I have on Twitch, actually? TV slash... Oh, God. Give me a second. How many... Let's see. I have 213 followers. Bro, I gained like 20 and like... crap. And like, holy crap, a day. It's pretty crazy. Jeez. Y'all are mental. Also, there is one thing that I do want to say real quickly. This isn't really that big of a deal if you don't join, but I do have a Discord server that I am building from scratch. So if you guys want to help me out by doing that, feel free to join the Twist of Fate Discord server. The link will be in the description down below. So if you want to do that, join at your discretion. We will just talk about weather and also vibe. That is what we shall do. What time will the next video be at? Be tomorrow morning. Most likely be early morning. Most likely will be really early in the morning because I have to go to work by 7. So I'll probably upload it by like 6:30 Eastern. So that's something to keep in mind. Good question. Where is Morgan? Morgan's not here with me tonight, but he'll be with me either on my live streams on Twitch or some other severe weather live streams. But tonight he had something to do. Or at least I'm pretty sure he had something to do. So yeah, I don't really see much more. Okay, so some more of the tornado watch has been canceled. A couple others have been kept up though. It will continue until 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, but that's still something to keep in mind there. So the tornado watch for Cerro Gordo, Franklin, Hardin, Polk, Story, and Worth County in Iowa has been canceled. But the other counties other than that, are still in effect for you all. So that's something to keep in mind with this. Just join the Discord. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yep, as I said, we're building it from scratch. So if you want to help me out by like communicating with me, if you want to get to know me a bit more, feel free. Feel free to join. So yeah, there isn't really much more for us to talk about here. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, and the tornadic window is closing shut as we speak. I heard there was a new meso discussion, or not really a new meso discussion, but a meso discussion that was issued over here. Severe weather threat continues. Risk for isolated damaging wind gusts and a tornado or two remains possible. Cluster of storms. Additional tornado or two will remain possible in the next 1 to 2 hours. So it won't be as strong as it was in Minnesota, but still there is a risk for tornadic storms in those areas. Oh, there's Morgan. Bold of me to assume that you're still doing something. Well, you joined the party late, so I mean... eh. Nice to see you here, though, Morgan. Sorry for asking a lot, but can you check Burnsville again? Okay, so, right here is Burnsville. Here it is. I've indicated it in my black circle here. And here's the thunderstorm right here. So I'll play the radar loop, and you'll be able to see that the thunderstorm just passed through Burnsville, and that the second batch of thunderstorms has officially moved on. So you should be all right. And it doesn't look like there's any other thunderstorms in this area. So you should be good for the rest of the evening. You might see some more thunderstorms across the board, but it is still something to keep in mind that there are still some of these batches of storms that are still pushing through into these different parts of eastern Minnesota and Wisconsin. So, still something to keep in mind with all that. Let's see. Yeah, I really don't see this thing pushing a lot more than it is. Oi, 2K subs, where's the room tour? It'll be its own video, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Yeah, I have to make my bed first. My bed's kind of, like, messed up. What radar am I using? Good question. So, I am using GR2 Analyst. It costs $250, and that might seem expensive. However, typically you have some radars that give you, make you do a subscription. And, cough, WSV3. WSV3 actually does a subscription to where it is $200 or $250 per year if you subscribe. However, GR2 Analyst, in my opinion, is the best radar that you can get on the market for the price and for it not having a subscription, so you don't have to, you know, continue to try and figure out, hey, do I have to pay money to continue to try and, you know, keep this program? No. This, if you buy it one and done, you will not regret it. I have used this for every live stream that I've ever had, and I absolutely love this product. Now, I would only recommend it if you're a weather nerd like me, because if you're not like a weather nerd, you bought it and you're like, oh, well, when am I ever going to use it? That's just, you know, a waste of money. But if you're a weather nerd and you're actually interested in weather, or if you want to take a look at radars yourself and you want the best radar out there on computer, go buy this thing. GR2 Analyst, look it up. I absolutely love it. But if you're like a, you know, a weather nerd who, or if you just like weather and you want like just a radar go get Radar Scope. Radar Scope costs $10. You can buy it on your phone, you can buy it on your computer, and it does the exact same thing, just with less amount of quality. So, something to keep in mind. Is there any severe threat for the next few days? So you actually are in a marginal risk tomorrow, Lance. But you'll probably experience that in the afternoon hours tomorrow for just gusty winds, maybe a little bit of hail. But otherwise, something to keep in mind with that. I'll take a look at this storm. All right, so these storms over here in southern Iowa and in Missouri, they actually do look like they are rotating just a little bit, but definitely not as strong as the ones that were up in Minnesota. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, real quickly, I don't want to brag or anything. I really don't want to brag or anything, but I just want to say, to prove my point that we have the best severe weather coverage on YouTube, we streamed at around 5 o'clock-ish, and storms didn't start firing up until right afterwards, and no other YouTuber did that. So, now it just goes to show you that we are on top of everything, and we get the events from the beginning all the way to the end. Or at least, for the most part, all the way to the end. Is there any tornadoes for the Pittsburgh and Arma, Kansas, Thursday through Sunday? So, let me, if you give me Alicia, I will be able to tell you. Just give me 2 seconds, please. And I also do this, chat. I also do forecasts for people, make sure that they can plan their day accordingly. Similar to how I do my videos on YouTube. So if you want to see that, subscribe and turn on notifications. Okay, so... Oh, so you're kind of northwest of Joplin. Well, that makes things a whole lot easier. That makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, so you asked if you were going to see some severe weather from now until Sunday-ish, I believe. Yep. So let's take a look at the convective outlooks real quickly. And there is a marginal risk for your area, but you're like on the farthest northern edge. It's like this stationary front that'll push on through and give you some gusty winds. I don't really think you'll get a lot of hail, but it'll just be this kind of gusty wind event. And then on Friday, you guys could also get some severe weather as well. More gusty winds, I know, your favorite. It may not be like the strongest event because it's a bit more localized to the west of you, like over in Oklahoma City. But, you know, you still have a threat for severe weather. And then on Saturday and Sunday... Saturday, it's a bit more towards your west again, a bit more localized into places like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, maybe even Wichita gets into the action, maybe. But the thing is that you should be able to get into the action on Sunday. So Sunday, that's where you guys could see some gusty winds, maybe some large hail, and maybe even a tornado, but it's very far out to say that you'll get a tornado. So, or at least your area will get a tornado. It's very far out to say so, but I would anticipate some gusty winds and some large hail in your general vicinity. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's see. Yeah, this event is really starting to kind of deplete a little bit. So that's something that, yeah, I would have to say that this event is starting to really kind of drop off. I'll use the HRRR real quickly as a model to be able to tell me what all it says it's happening. Take a look at the parameters out in front of it. Jersey. Oh, yeah. No, it just looks dead. It doesn't look all too strong. He was going to southeast Kansas because of all the hail and stuff like that. It wasn't like tornadoes. All right, tornado watch for Floyd and Mitchell in Iowa has been canceled, as well as Dodge, Mower, and Olmsted in Minnesota. That's also been canceled. But the tornado watches and all the other counties, if I didn't mention any of your counties up to this point, then you do not, your tornado watch has not been canceled yet. So that's something to keep in mind with all that. Oh my, what? Hold up. I have to see this real quickly. I'm sorry. Give me a second. File, save as. I just needed to save that real quickly. Anyways, yep. No tornadoes. The better. Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, we're pretty much, this event's pretty much kind of just depleted a lot, which leads me to believe that this event is kind of over. The Squiddles, hello, welcome to the stream. You may be towards the latter stages of the stream, to where most of the severe weather has kind of went past, but still, welcome to the stream. If you have any questions about weather and stuff like that, feel free to ask. No deadly ones anyways, I pray. I agree. I do not want tornadoes to impact people. I just do not like the fact that they impact life and property. But still, something that we're here for, and we'll be able to tell people when and where these storms come around. So we're always here. We're always here to help. All right, so I think this will probably be the final time I say this. But if you do like what I do here, do like the stream, or you do like my channel, please be sure to subscribe if you're new and hit that notification button. I do uploads every single day. They're in the mornings, but I upload every single day. I talk about whatever has happened around in the world or the U.S., whether it's weather, like severe weather, or tornadoes is technically severe weather, hurricanes, winter, flooding, stuff like that. I just speak about what's on my mind, and I try and help you guys plan accordingly. So if you do like that, please be sure to subscribe and hit notifications, as well as share this stream so that other people may be able to enjoy this content, and like the video so that YouTube's algorithm sends this stream out to more people, because that is, if you do like the video, that helps me a lot. So hear rumors that Dixie Alley is going to be busy this year. I would have to agree. I would have to agree that Dixie Alley is going to be busy. As a matter of fact, into the early stages of next week, it very well could be. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that Dixie Alley may start sooner rather than later. Ryan Schiller, see you later. Appreciate you for coming out to the stream. I really do. Yeah, no, I think this event is kind of dead. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah. I think that's about it. I think we're gonna have to end it here. As I said, to all the people who have helped me, supported me all the way through, whether it's subscribing, liking the video, being with me for as long as you have, it doesn't matter how long you've been with me, although I really do appreciate the people who have been with me from day one, as well as, you know, all the people who have liked the video, shared it, done all they can to help support my channel. I just want to tell you all, I really do appreciate all that you do. I may sound pretty bland when it comes to my personality and stuff like that, but you guys know that when stuff happens, I get going, I get raring to go, and I almost become on fire, and I start just putting out information as quickly as possible to try and help people. And that's personally why I love doing this, is just the thrill of helping people and looking at tornadoes and being able to dissect them and being able to predict where they are going. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it for me. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy and Nate. And I will catch you guys in the next stream. Or actually, I should say the next video. I'll say that tomorrow because I'm going to be uploading tomorrow. So yeah, long story short, there isn't really a whole lot left here today. Cape is kind of bleh. There is a lot of capping inversion around all the moisture, and so there isn't really a whole bunch left, and that's the reason why I'm cutting it quits for tonight. But I will see you all the next time. Peace.